welcome to How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life. My name is Stacey Morgan, and today's episode is brought to you by the online program Guilt Be Gone. There's nothing worse than that toing and froing feeling that you're not giving enough to any of the aspects of your existence and that you can't win no matter how hard you try. It's taken me many years to get the systems in place to break that cycle of overwhelm that I was experiencing on a day-to-day basis. I now have systems that work and I don't want to keep it to myself. And that's why I've put it into my fabulous program, Guilt Be Gone. If you haven't done Guilt Be Gone yet, please join us for this intake. You can register now at simplystaceymorgan.com. And today we are talking about filling up your cup, which is something that I'm sure every single person who's listening to this knows how important that is, but yet is guilty of not doing it enough. We talked in the very beginning of the podcast about your own version of success and your own version of how you want to use your time and your money and your energy well. And when it comes to filling up your cup, it's really important for you to be able to figure out exactly what best recharges you for your life. Of course, none of us can serve others if we are serving from an empty cup. That old notion that, the thing that used to be front of mind that now isn't because nobody's traveling anywhere, but the whole thing of putting your own oxygen mask on before you put on the oxygen masks of others is such a great metaphor for exactly what it's like running your own business and also running your family as well. You're not going to be able to serve others if you have not been yet first served yourself. So today we're talking about the importance of filling up your cup and ensuring that you are looking after yourself. Something that my mum used to say to me all the time, are you looking after yourself? And I want you to ask yourself that now. Are you, in fact, looking after yourself? It's really, really important. We talked about energy and we talked about time, but it is really, really important for you to schedule time in order to recharge. And recharging for everybody looks like completely different things. You may have heard and you may know whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. And of course, those two very different personality types have very different ways of recharging themselves. If you are an introvert, then perhaps you get recharged from spending time on your own. Perhaps you get recharged from silence and from people not being around you, from you having your own space and your own time. Perhaps if you're an extrovert, you're the opposite and you love to get amongst people, and that having people around you that are really energized, like to lift you up and to charge you up. Or perhaps you're a bit of a mix of both. And I have to say that I am somewhere in the middle there. Whilst I really, really do adore time on my own. And this past Mother's Day that's just gone, I am guilty of saying, when he said, "What do you want to do on Mother's Day?" I said, "Not spend it with you." Not spend it with any of you. I just was at a point where I needed that time on my own. I needed that recharge time. And I knew that being around people and doing a heap of social engagements and catching up with family and going places and going out for breakfast or going out for lunch was just not what I needed at the time. So I find that whilst I get quite recharged by hanging out with people, especially people who I enjoy the company of, at times that is really energizing for me. I know teaching my students is really energizing for me. I can teach a class that I go into feeling quite tired and lethargic and come out buzzing. But there are some times where I just need that time on my own. And I encourage you to think about what works for you and what is best for you when it comes to recharging your energy and knowing exactly how you want to spend your time, because it is so important, especially with the busy lives that we lead, the busyness of our lives, the things that we're trying to juggle, the amount of things that are on our plate or on our to-do list. It's really important to be able to find pockets of time to recharge yourself, and knowing how to do that effectively is a really important part of that. I'm a big fan of scheduling. I'm not sure if you've picked that up already, but my Google Calendar is life. I wake up in the morning and that's everything I need to do, and everywhere I need to be is exactly there, all in that one place. And I encourage you that whether you have a paper diary or a paper calendar, or whether you have something up on the wall, or whether you have something that is in your phone and in your hand or in your back pocket at all times, I encourage you to be able to make yourself a schedule that works for you, that has a good balance of time where you're working, time with your family, and then time that you're getting to yourself. Because often that filling up your cup is time on your own. It is time doing things that are going to best serve you. So scheduling out that time, even if you don't know yet exactly what that is that you would like to put in that time. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned in life, and I learned this from the fabulous Ali Garrison, was about the importance of scheduling white space and white space time in my calendar. And I can tell you, and I'm completely like I'm just putting it all out there, when she first suggested that I put time aside in my calendar to do nothing, I was like, she's crazy. Doesn't she know how busy I am? I got things to do. And it was really hard for me. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was really hard for me to set time aside, not just to set the time aside, but then also to follow through on that and make sure that I was actually doing it. Um, and I just thought that was not something that I could do. But once I started to do it in just small increments, it became something I looked forward to. And then I would try and extend those times. And then I would try and schedule it not just on a Thursday, but also on a Wednesday and a Thursday, and get really luxurious. And sometimes during that time, I would, do really conscious things that would recharge me, things that I know that fill up my cup. And then other times I would just not have anything scheduled there. So I could have a longer lunch, or I could sit outside for an extra 2 minutes and enjoy my cup of tea, or I could just potter around the house or tidy my sock drawer, or I don't know, anything, not scheduling in things that are going to happen all the time so that your days are completely scheduled from go to woe is super important. And that is something that really, really helps me fill myself up. So I encourage you, if you were one of the people that rolled their eyes when I suggested that just now, that you schedule time for white space in your calendar in order to schedule time to fill up your cup, then I encourage you, just start with 5 minutes. Is there 5 minutes in the next 7 days that you can put aside just to be able to schedule some time where you're not going to do anything, time where you're not going to check Instagram, time where you're not going to check your email, time where you're not going to unload the dishwasher, time that is just you time for you to chill and time for you to relax. And even if you just take those 5 minutes to think about, okay, I have 5 minutes now to actually think about what could be best served when I put this time aside for myself. Because I tell you what, no one's going to jump into our calendars and schedule it for us, especially if you're a busy mum. Nobody is going to say, hey, I think it's your time now. Go take 2 hours to yourself. That's not going to happen. Don't live in a fantasy land. You need to schedule it for yourself, and you need to be able to know the importance of that and all of the benefits that you will get from it, from filling up your cup and spending that time and putting that time aside. And once you do it, once you prioritize it, you're being an incredible role model for the other women that are around you. You're being a really incredible role model as a mum for the little people that are looking up to you, saying, no, yes, I love you and I love spending time with you, but it's also important for me to have time to myself in order to fill myself up so that I can be my best self when I'm around you. So if you're looking for permission, if you're somebody who thinks that they've never had permission before to take some time for themselves, then permission granted. And feel free to reach out to me on Instagram as well if you feel like that permission is wavering, if you think that you get a couple of weeks down the track and you start to go back to your old habits and your old patterns. That is okay. Reach out to me. I'm happy to give you the permission slip one more time. But filling up your cup and spending time doing those things that recharge you, whether that's a bubble bath, whether it's going for a massage, whether it's sitting out in nature, whether it's going for a walk along the beach, whether it's walking the dog, whether it's sitting and playing with your kids, whatever those things are that are going to recharge you and fill you up, you need to schedule them in. And this is your permission to do so. I challenge you to find some time. This is your takeaway. No worksheet this week, just a takeaway of finding pulling your calendar right out right now, finding a day, finding a time, and starting with 5 minutes. If you can't set aside 2 hours yet, that's okay. You can work up to that, but start with 5 minutes. Where in your week will there be 5 minutes for you to sit and relax and really think about how you can best use your time? I encourage you to do that for yourself and for the people that are around you, because once you fill up yourself, you are then better able to serve the others that are around you. Today's episode has been brought to you by Guilt Be Gone. And in Guilt Be Gone, we talk about lots of strategies in order to fill up your cup, in order to bring you lots of joy. I hope you can join us. You can register now at simplystacymorgan.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, then I encourage you to take a screenshot and put it on your Insta story and tag me. I'm at Simply Stacey Morgan. If you haven't joined us in our Facebook group, How to Run a Successful Business and Still Have a Life, I encourage you to come along and join us. There's some great conversations going along in that group. Of course, when all parts of a successful business are all working together and running smoothly because the business is very healthy, then you are setting yourself up for profitable and sustainable growth. If you don't know how healthy your business is, take our survey by clicking on the Learn with Stacey tab at simplystacymorgan.com. And we are here every week giving you bite-sized business tips and tangible takeaways in order to take your business to the next level. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and I'll talk to you next week.